All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Global Reality. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. This is the Friday, April 21st, 2017 edition of the broadcast. Thank you very much for being here with us for another edition of the show. I have I tried to take a day off yesterday, not yesterday, but the past couple of days to kind of relax and stuff after working on Spellcasters 1.5, but it didn't work. It didn't work. I've been right back into working on Volume 2 for the past few days, so it's just been consuming me, and I've been on fire with it, so I haven't had a chance to do any other shows since the last one, but anyway, we're here with you right now, and hope you're all doing well out there today. Gosh, there's sometimes this stuff, man, I look at this stuff and I'm just like, really? Again? But I am, I'm happy to talk about this fucking shirtless circus going on down in Austin here in Texas with the Alex Jones trial. Man, I tell you what, this shit is high entertainment, isn't it? I can't decide what's more entertaining. The fact that this stuff is public record, or the fact that Jones, I mean, his absolute assumption of ignorance, it's baffling to the mind. He assumes, what I mean by assumption of ignorance is he assumes that every single person in the world besides him is stupid, and that nobody else in the world knows anything about how a court of law works. So, of course, he's been playing damage control this week, since, as a part of the public record, they have fucking thing called court stenographers that go in there, record everything that's said. His defense team, his high-powered defense team, ladies and gentlemen, put forward, as we talked about the last show, the defense that he's a performance artist and that everything that he does on the show is just it's just an act. It's basically him being an actor. Now, since that's come out, and that wasn't the media saying that, that wasn't somebody who's against Alex Jones saying that. That was Alex Jones' own defense attorneys saying that. And so, of course, now, just as you would expect, he's playing damage control and trying to spin it and treat everybody, all his followers and whatnot, as if they're so ignorant they wouldn't know that. I mean, look, he didn't have the fucking. It's like this guy's got the public defender. Okay, go look into his legal team and the big high-powered, high-dollar legal team. I mean, these guys aren't the public defender. Maybe if you had a public defender, you might have a situation where, maybe you might have a situation where a defense attorney might enter a defense argument that you didn't know about. But he's acting as if his attorney saying that he's an actor and he's a performance artist, and that shouldn't reflect on who he is in the real world. I mean, why don't they just play that fucking Joe Rogan clip where, because Joe Rogan's been one of his buddies forever, going back to the 90s. Where Joe Rogan's, emphatically saying, no, that's how he is. He's really that way off the air. I mean, to me, if you just play that, it's open shut case. But now he's spinning it and saying that it's now the globalists, the liberal media, and George Soros. Once again, George Soros. Oh, holy fuck, man. If a baby is born premature, it's George Soros' fault. If a fucking bird flaps its wings in Canada and it makes a fucking woolly mammoth 5,000 years ago fart, it was George Soros' fault. Somebody, one of our listeners made this thing, put it on our Facebook page a few months ago. It was like one of those, I can't remember what they're called, those books, those children, like golden, what are they called? Little golden books? Is that what they were called? They have different ones of those that are different memes that are all pretty funny, but somebody made one that was like, looked like that. It had a picture of Alex Jones on it. It had like a tear coming out of his eye. And it said, everything I don't like is funded by George Soros, an idiot's guide to whatever. But so now, according to Alex Jones, you can see this. Just type Alex Jones, I am not fake, I think is what it's called. It's a video. It's him fucking driving in the car going to court, basically perjuring himself. Basically, he's saying that what he said in court's not this, that, and the other. But this idea that somehow his defense attorneys entered in a defense that he didn't know anything about or he didn't approve firsthand. Ladies and gentlemen, you know as well as I do. You know this. I don't have to tell you. You know as well as I do. His defense team did not just come up with that on the fly or come with a clear blue sky. He would have had to have approved that as a defense first. Now he's playing damage control. And it's very interesting because I think he's fucked either way. To be honest with you, I think he's fucked. I think he's fucked no matter how this comes out. Because think about this. I mean, if he wins, right? If he wins with that defense, and that jury and that judge allows that to stand, that, you can basically, because that sets a huge precedent, folks. I mean, shit. I'm kind of rooting for him to win at this point. Because, if you thought I was off the chain now, if Jones wins this thing, I'm going completely off the fucking chain. Like, I've got at least some restraint and some kind, I hold back sometimes. Boy, oh boy. But why not? You should too. Everybody should. If Jones wins this case, everybody should. Because it will officially show that things such as defamation or whatever else and really don't mean jack shit. Because from now on, if Jones wins this, well, fuck. Get yourself a fucking conspiracy radio show like I got. And then you got carte blanche, fucking full license, say whatever you want about anybody at any time, regardless of whether it's true or not. Holy fuck. Y'all thought I was off the chain before. Boy, I'm going to be up here and just saying all kinds of shit. I saw Alex Jones sucking a tranny hooker off and diddling a fucking 8-year-old at the same time. Who gives a fuck if it's true or not, right? It's performance art. I'm a performance artist. I can't be held accountable for something I say up here, whether it's true or not, because now if Jones wins, then that makes guys like me and others performance artists. So I'm rooting for you, Jonesy. I hope you win this one. Lock, stock, and barrel, buddy. Hope you win it all with that defense because, that's a huge boon for guys like me. Fuck. I can tell you to go fuck your mother and eat a dick and anything else. Hey, why are you getting mad at me? Dude, you were on your radio show the other day. You told me to eat a dick and fuck my mother, and I saw me diddling an 8-year-old or whatever. Yeah, but dude, I'm a performance artist. So what, dude? Oh, man. Boy. Wow. That's huge. I'm blown away by this. Boy, I got a bunch of ex-girlfriends and, people I knew 15, 20 years ago. Man, I got a bunch of people about to find out what they didn't know. I'm a performance artist. They about to see some performance art up in here. But I tell you what, I'm about to performance art my ass all over this motherfucker. And I'm not even kidding you. Because, really, you can say whatever now. But he's in this video, and he I'm not kidding, I'm not making this up, I'm not exaggerating. He literally says in this video that people now saying that he's fake and he's not real and that he's an actor, He literally, I'm not kidding, I'm not making this up. He says that it's fucking being put out by George Soros. It got put out by his own attorneys. You could read it right there. I can't even get it out. It's just so fucking hilarious. Oh my God, it just shows you what a fucking full of shit liar he is. But let's look at this from all angles here, and I really want to analyze this. I want to get into this. This is a fascinating case. It really is, because well, think about it. Let's think about it. We talked about let's say he wins. Here's the other thing that I'm interested in, though, that I have not seen. I've looked high and low. I've looked at all the available information on this. I'm just trying to put myself, in the position of somebody who was if I was a juror or something on the case. You're looking at it, completely neutral, assuming I don't know anything about Alex Jones or his ex-wife or any of this stuff. I have to say, based on the evidence, at least that I've seen so far in this case, I haven't seen anything other than Alex Jones saying, and I quote, "I don't want to perjure myself, so no, I can't say my ex-wife has any redeeming qualities as a mother." Past that, I can't find anything else. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's plenty of stuff that's lobbed at Jones. Like when he does the fucking berserker fucking big enchilada thing where he rips his fucking shirt off like he's a Incredible Hulk, Incredible Gut. He fucking rips his shirt off. Apparently, like, he did that like in a family, because that's what that's the case they're making here. He's the same guy, and he's a fucking psychotic maniac on air and off air. That's the case they're trying to make against him. And one of the things that piece of evidence they presented is he did that in a fucking family counseling session. I mean, it doesn't look good, Jonesy. I have to say, it just doesn't look good. You can get away with that if you do the Hulk act thing on the YouTube video. Okay, whatever. Performance art. Okay. But you do that in the fucking family counseling session in front of the counselor. And what about surely you guys have heard about the sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm fucking tears over here. You can't make this up. I mean, I've made up some pretty like comical, stuff about Alex Jones, about him eating enchiladas, and it's not. I smoked pot one time, and it didn't make me want to go out and kill people. It just made me want to eat a half gallon of Dutch chocolate ice cream, Bluebell, and eat a platter of cheese enchiladas. But he did say that. I didn't make that up. He actually did say that one time on his show. But I've said funny things or whatever, fucking. But I couldn't make this shit up. The bowl of chili defense. Let me remind you, this guy is under oath in a court of law. You can't make this up. You can't George Soros this either. I'm sure he'll probably try to say that what I'm saying right now was also created by George Soros. The chili bowl defense. This is no bullshit. The attorney for his ex-wife, when Jones was on the stand, asked Jones how old his kids are and what grade they're in. And his response under oath, ladies and gentlemen, was, and I quote, "Oh, I don't really know. I can't remember. I had a big bowl of chili for lunch." I can't. To me, that's the thing that I've seen, no kidding around, not even trying to be funny. As funny as that is, it's almost the punchline. You know what I mean? It's almost the giveaway. Think about that statement for a minute. The way he says it too, just deadpan. I don't remember. I had a big bowl of chili for lunch. Boom. It doesn't follow up with anything. for that question, that's the question he gives. That's the answer he gives. That to me, it almost makes me think he's faker than we think he is. You know what I mean? It almost makes me think that because that doesn't compute. Your whole defense is, well, that was getting back to my point a minute ago. I haven't seen anything of them say anything other than his statement about her not having any redeeming qualities as a mother. I haven't seen anything else that they have put up as any sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Things that his ex-wife has done. Usually when you have these kind of divorce things like that, it's one side after the other, but looking at it objectively, there's definitely a lot more evidence being presented against him than is being presented against her. So with that said, regardless of, again, I'm just looking at this objectively. If I didn't know what this case was, know anything about these people, I would say probably most people are going to find against Alex Jones and for his wife. So again, it's going to be interesting, I think, either way. If he wins and he wins because he used that defense of, hey, this is just performance art and I'm an actor, well, that opens the floodgates. It really does. Because that will then allow not only people like Alex Jones and more of these different people, because, we've seen this for years. And people for years thought, I met people, I know you did too. I met people and talked to people before. Blows my mind. Remember back when the Daily Show was on with Jon Stewart, people actually thought that was a real news show. They weren't calling that fake news back then, but that's what that was. And I remember my dad. My dad used to say the same thing. It's interesting. He used to say the same thing about Rush Limbaugh. That's what my dad would say about Rush Limbaugh. Oh, well, he's a performer. He's a performer. My dad would always say, he's not a fucking performer. Performers aren't, for the most part, unless you want to talk about some of these guys that are in, musicians and stuff that are in the OTO. For the most part, performance artists are not involved in political groups, specifically ones that have ties to the Central Intelligence Agency, black operations, and the rest of it. That's the other interesting thing. If you go to our Facebook page at the Global Reality Radio Network Facebook page, just type in the Global Reality Radio Network into Facebook and go add us there if you haven't already. Posted a picture earlier, and I'll read you the quote at the bottom of this picture. It says, Alex Jones arrives at Travis County Family Court with his Blackwater mercenary bodyguard, Quentin Carter. This guy looks like a fucking Hasidic Jew. Jones never ventures into public without Carter at his side. As part of his job duties with Blackwater, Carter provided physical protection to high-level U.S. government officials in the Middle East during the Iraq War, and now performs a similar function for Jones. Alex Jones employs several private military contractors and U.S. Army Special Ops agents, a fact which provides yet more evidence that InfoWars is a covert U.S. government CIA military intelligence operation. So, and again, you can go and look this guy up, Quentin Carter. To me, all the stuff how long have I been talking about? 10 years now. I've been talking about Jones, the connections to the Council for National Policy. It doesn't get any more connected than that. Blackwater is a direct, it was directly spawned from the Council for National Policy. Ed Grinnell's a Prince, who were both on the CIA payroll, the mother and father of Eric Prince. Eric Prince also admitted he was on the CIA payroll some years ago. He founded Blackwater. I've got clips in my film, The Cigarette Volume 2, where they're talking about how Blackwater would name their vehicles, the Templar 1 and the Crusader 2, and these guys really do think they're on a new crusade. It also, it's just, it's mind blowing. It really is. It's really interesting this comes out. So again, it either way that this comes out, it's going to be interesting to see. Because I think it opens up the floodgates for say what you want. You can say anything you want about anybody anytime, as long as it's done under the guise of performance art. Well, fucking A. All right, let's get to town then. If he loses, what happens? Now that's okay. Let's look at that scenario. If he loses, well, there's a lot of different scenarios that can play out if he loses. And as interesting as I think it would be if he won, I got to say, honestly, from looking at the case just objectively, I don't think he's going to win strictly because, well, I don't know. Maybe there's some other information that has that. I would think the media would have already. I mean, I've looked at and I've looked at court, the court minutes and all this, or whatever's available out there. I've looked at this stuff. I haven't seen anything yet. It just doesn't seem that there's near as much dirt on her as there is on him, and most of the time, it's going to go towards the woman as long as there isn't physical abuse. Now, if one side or the other produces evidence of physical abuse on the kids by either party, whatever party the evidence is against, they're fucked. That's and I know this because listen, I come from divorced parents and was physically abused when I was 6 years old, and I had to go through this stuff. So I know what's up with this personal experience, especially here in the state of Texas. If he loses, and I see already, just as he was talking about in this video where he's playing damage control, already it's hurting him. He said, well, but people are already coming up to me on the street saying you're fake and you're fake this, and I'm not fake. I'm a real person, blah, blah. Dude, you entered a defense in a fucking custody battle with your lawyers that you would have had to have said yes to. That's the arrogance. He thinks you're too stupid to know that he had to approve that defense before they ever went into the fucking courtroom. Alex Jones would have had to have said to his lawyer at some point, yes, that's the defense I want to go with. That works for me. Let's go with that. Now he's trying to turn it around because and he even says too, how here's the real key giveaway for me. At the bottom of one of these, there's so many of these articles. He says that he tried very hard to keep all of this stuff out of the public to protect his kids. No, he tried like hell to keep this stuff out of the public because he didn't want. He would have had to have already entered that defense. His lawyers didn't come up with this performance artist bit the night before the trial started this week. Okay, they would have been working on this and have the team of lawyers and whatnot research. I mean, they do full court press on this kind of thing. They would have been in there already working this defense up for months, had it researched, had all the litigators in line. They would have had everything there, getting this thing to work in a court of law. Now, he probably thought up to a certain point, because he got a lot of the stuff, confidentiality agreements, he got the cases and stuff sealed on his divorce stuff. He got all that sealed up, but he couldn't get this sealed up. So what it looks like happened is, especially judging by some of the statements he made after court this week, saying, I tried to keep this, private. He didn't think any of this stuff was going to come out. Now that it has, that defense of I'm being a performance art, that's what he wanted to keep a secret. Now that's come out. Now he's playing damage control. And one of the people, I think it's one of the lawyers, I think maybe on his ex-wife's team, said, quote, "This case is not about InfoWars, but for some reason, this family has done very well. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 5 lawyers on one side of the table and 3 over here because of the family business, because of the business this family is in." That's the statement I was referring to the other night. For some reason, this family has done very well. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 5 lawyers on one side of the table and 3 over here because of the business this family's in, right? See how he's saying that? Something you can tell just by that statement, something seems suspicious to him. Right, it should be suspicious. And it is suspicious. Of course, that would be, watch my Secret Right films and all that stuff. Been laying out this stuff and the connections to Adnan Khashoggi and all this CIA stuff, man, for years. But the real question is what this does to his credibility long term if he loses the case. That's the real crux of the issue as far as if Jones loses. His long-term credibility, in how's it going to affect that? And not in terms of you and I and what we think about it or whatever, or even really necessarily as hardcore fans. But what I mean is in terms of, if what we know is true, and he is a part of this ongoing CIA operation, well, if you've done the research like I have, folks, well, I mean, it doesn't look good for Jonesy if he loses. I'm just saying it doesn't look good for this guy either way. But knowing what I know, and I think even Jones would probably himself agree with me on this statement, knowing what I know about these people that control all this stuff, if they don't think that he can serve their agenda any longer, and that meaning that, this case damages his credibility to the point where he's not useful to the overarching master plan anymore, I mean, they'll God help him, they'll wipe the floor with him. They'll suicide him, or they'll, he'll die in a way that looked like a car wreck or an accident or a plane crash, or probably more closer to the truth, or at least another possibility, probably what they would do is they'd probably have one of these guys that work for him, like Quentin Carter, the mercenary Blackwater bodyguard, one of those guys, or one of these other, Army Special Op agents guys. I mean, all it takes is a phone call with orders, marching orders, and a payment. That's all it takes for those guys, man. Those guys will. You would think Jones would be smart enough to know that. If he's not smart enough to know that, then he's right in the pocket with them even more than we think he is. But if he thinks for a second, those guys like Quentin Carter and others won't, at a drop of a hat, if they get a phone call and a payment cleared in their account, won't pop him right then and there if they're going to be given a marching order and a check to do it and make it look like a suicide or whatever else after this case ends. If he loses, then I feel even more sorry for him, because that's what those guys do, and they would do it too. That's what they do. Don't think for a second one of these Blackwater guys is guarding Jones. They get a phone call, they get a cleared payment. They wouldn't pop him right there if they got an order from up on high, up above him, up above their pay grade. They would. That's how they work. So that's why I think this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And some of the stuff that's come out against him from his ex-wife, saying that he's brainwashed his kids and this, that, and other. But anybody's going to say that in any situation. But what I think is interesting is how he's grooming his 14-year-old son to take over, almost like they're already, I don't know, like it's like they're setting the stage for it. I mean, of course they are. I said that many years ago. That eventually Jones would, they'll martyr him, they'll do something, and then they'll recycle the op, and it'll flip, and it'll be somebody different, but the same old op will continue. But he's making statements saying that he's priming his son for the info war, and he's going to be a great warrior in the info war, and he's got what it takes, and He's already got him, like, had him 2 or 3 times on his show, like, in a little suit like him, like, behind the desk, reading news articles. I mean, and again, that's exactly how the Freemasonic stuff is, and how all the CIA stuff is. This, these hereditary operations and stuff. It's wild. So, again, all this is going to come down to whether or not he continues to be useful for their ongoing operations. He's been exposed a lot, not only by me, but many others on a lot of different fronts. And of course, if anything, now that anything is coming out about him not being trustworthy, that only means it's going to be a matter of time before people start finding more and more of my work, because this has the potential to make people who've never really thought anything bad about Alex Jones previously to this to start looking. When they do, they're going to start finding some of this other stuff. So I don't know. They could very well fake his death, make it look like he killed himself, and he could go on to other operations. That could happen too. I'll tell you what. I wasn't really following this case, but I followed it enough to see all the evidence straight up. The Aaron Hernandez thing. Oh my God. I mean, I have never in all my years, ladies and gentlemen, I've never seen a more clear-cut case of a more obviously staged fake death than the Aaron Hernandez. Let me get this straight. The guy was already in prison. I think he already had a 1 life sentence. He's already in prison, right? For killing one guy. He goes to trial for killing 2 other guys, right? Already been doing time. Gets off on killing these 2 guys, and then decides, I don't want to live anymore. And they're saying there's no evidence of foul play. His lawyer's saying he believes it's murder. They're holding the brain. Look, the bottom line of this, it has to do, I think I read something, it has something to do with, because now he's killed himself, the case will be thrown out of court. And then because of that, it'll force New England Patriots to have to make good on part of something he had in one of his contracts that will then cost something like $4.9 million, something to go to his young daughter. I mean, folks, it doesn't take much. People have been faking their own deaths, and celebrities have been faking their own deaths for many, many years. Many years. And again, just kind of like what I said a minute ago about these Blackwater guys that Jones employs, who would pop him in a second, even though they're hired to protect him, they would pop him in a second if they got that phone call from a pay grade above and got that transfer of money into the account. Boom, you bet your ass they would. You bet your ass they would. Of course they would. And same thing, same thing there. Oh, man, this is yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, man. But he's running hardcore damage control on this. And, the bowl of chili thing, that just really, you can't make this shit up, folks. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. If he would have said, I'll tell you, I would have fucking died. I would have had a coronary right there on air. If he would have used the enchilada defense, though, I would have fucking shit myself. I would have pissed in my fucking pants on air. I'd have been fucking sitting in a puddle over here. Mr. Jones, please tell us your children's names and how old they are and what grade they're in. I don't remember. You don't remember? No, I don't remember. I had a big old plate of cheese enchiladas for lunch today. I lost my fucking grease. Oh, man. The big bowl of chili was fucking funny enough. But, man, if he comes in there talking about enchiladas at some point in this fucking trial, man, But again, I just think that whole thing of can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine? That little element doesn't seem fucking weird to anybody else and almost seems like the whole crux of the issue? It does to me. You're on trial for the custody of your children, supposedly, right? You would think you would want to, and you would also think that your attorneys you're paying all this good money to would want to make sure that you're minding your P's and Q's and stuff on the stand. You're trying to make the case that you're a good father and that you deserve to have joint custody of your kids. I would think that knowing what their names are, how old they are, and what grade they're in would be pretty important. But instead, he just nonchalantly says, I can't remember. Honestly, can't remember. You can't remember what grade your kids are and how old? No, I can't remember. I had a big bowl of chili for lunch today. I had a big bowl of chili for lunch today. So that's all it takes in court from now on. Fuck. This Jones is setting legal precedents left and right with this case. I tell you what. Whew. Man. Not only has he brought us the I'm just an actor, character actor defense, but no, I'm really not because George Soros made that up defense. He's also now brought us the big bowl of chili defense. So next time, if you're ever under oath and you're ever, this is, I'm sure the mob guys are probably going to be using this. Mob guys should have been using this all along. Tell us, Mr. Chinzo, how long have you been a mobster and gangster? How long have you been involved in mob activities? Shit, I don't know. I had too much pepperoni for lunch today. Whatever. Honey, have you been looking at donkey porn again? I can't remember. I had a fucking big bowl of chili today. I don't know. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm using that from now on. Anytime I ask anybody question me on anything, big bowl of chili. That's it. Thank you, Jones. Appreciate that. Big bowl of chili defense. Honey, did you take out the trash this morning? God, I don't remember if I did or not. Honey, you didn't put your penis in that prostitute, did you? God, I don't remember. I don't remember if I put my penis in the prostitute or not. I had a big bowl of chili for lunch, so big bowl of chili just wipes it all clean. It's just fucking Roto-Rooter for the soul. It's a big dry erase chalkboard. There's all the facts. There's the question. There's the big bowl of chili. Gone. Big bowl of chili. That is fucking hilarious. But again, my point of that whole thing with the big bowl of chili is, to me, it shows beyond a shadow of doubt. It made me, when I saw that, when I first read that, that's when I believed the defense more than any other time. I mean, for all we know, these may not even be his real kids. His whole marriage to her could be a sham, and it could have been an act and a front, and maybe that's why so much of the documentation from their divorce has been sealed. But having somebody, I don't know how old my kids are, what grade they're in, and then crying 2 seconds later, to me, it just doesn't seem. And of course, he's in the media today. Oh, please be respectful of me and don't talk about my family. This, wait a minute. I mean, this is the guy who went on and on about saying people at Sandy Hook were that were killed weren't really killed, and this, that, and the other. Regardless of whether or not it's true or not, he's hurt a lot of people with those statements. But what's good for the goose ain't good for the gander, you see. He never wants to give respect for anybody. He talked about fucking Alec Baldwin. I'm gonna break Alec Baldwin's nose, and the rest. That's just performance art, right? But again, if he wins, that sets the precedent for that. Shit, I mean, if he wins, we should have no holds barred radio shows from here on out, and YouTube videos. Just get up on your, hey, do you hate somebody? Get up on your YouTube video and say you want to break their fucking neck and break their nose in or whatever. If Jones wins, hey, why not? If somebody says you were threatening somebody and they want to arrest you for, making threatening statements, say, hey, I wasn't threatening anybody. I'm a fucking performance artist, motherfucker. I'm Alex Jones. I'm like him. We're performance artists. Yeah, performance artists get to say whatever they want about anybody at any time for any reason and can never be held accountable for it under any circumstances. That's the precedent that's going to be set here if he wins. They're not going to, I doubt they let that happen. If he loses, then it validates everything we already know. Plus, it makes anything else that comes out about him or has come out about him more believable, which again is going to significantly hurt the effectiveness of his operation. So I see something. I think they might suicide him. They might fake his death. Either one of those is on the table. And I don't know. Look, be on the lookout for this. I think when this is over, we're going to see something happen. There's going to be something. They very well could suicide the guy. I don't know. Could suicide. They could fake his death. It all is going to depend upon whether or not Jones continues to be an effective soldier for their grand scoping operations. And, I don't know. I think at this point he's been exposed too much to be effective any longer, but we'll see. We'll see. If you haven't seen my newest 1.5 version of the Spellcasters, please visit theglobalreality.com right now. Go to our download shop and get yourself a copy of this. You want to make sure, I don't know why I have to even say this. It boggles my mind that I have to say this. And it boggles my mind that I just don't get this mentality. I've had people do this on all my films, though. Let me explain this to you in case you don't get it. The way my films work is, each one of them connects to the one before. And it's very important that if I come out with like a 1.5 version of a film or a volume 2 of a film or something, or a volume 3, whatever it may be, it's vitally important that you watch the previous installments. When Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 2 came out, I had people that jumped right into Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 2 and didn't watch Volume 1. And then those same people would email me and say, well, I don't get this. I don't get this and there. Right. Did you watch Volume 1? No. Right. Because I didn't bother repeating myself on stuff that I said in Volume 1. I assume that you already know the frame of reference and where I'm coming from because of what we discussed in Volume 1. So by the time you get to Volume 2, I don't have to sit there and reinforce and tell you, why this is important or what, how it connects to what we're examining and researching here, because that's already been established in the previous film. I've already had people doing that again now with Spellcasters. People who are watching Spellcasters 1.5, and they didn't even see Volume 2. I mean, Volume 1, rather. And I mean, I can't help you. All I can say is don't watch Part 2 or 1.5 or any of my movies without watching the Volume 1 first. Okay? Let's just leave it at that. The fact that I even have to say that, and I'm saying I wouldn't even say it. I'm not talking about it just happened like once or twice. I'm talking about it's happened a lot to the point where I've had to actually address it like I am now. It's bizarre to me. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine. Can you imagine like having not seen any? Think of a series. Think of like The Matrix, or think of like The Godfather, or any series that had more than one part. Star Wars. I've never seen Star Wars ever in my whole life, but I'm going to watch fucking Return of the Jedi first. Why? Well, just because I want to. No other good reason. I don't need to see the other two. I'll know what's going on. That's an assumption that people know what's going on. And, I get that. I get that because so many other people I know that, pretty much everybody else out there. My films and what the information in my films is not the same old shit you've already seen and heard a million times. These are deep, genuine research efforts with information that you just flat will not find anywhere else. That's what I pride myself on with these films. So definitely go and get yourself a download. Spellcasters 1.5. It's out now. It's in the download shop. We've got about 24 hours left to raise the remaining $800 we need to finish Volume 2 out. If anybody can help us with that, please go to my website, theglobalreality.com, make a donation. You can use the donate button there if you want to use a credit card or a debit card instead of PayPal. I've had questions about anonymous donations. People want to make anonymous donations, that kind of thing. All you have to do if you want to make an anonymous donation, you can go get one of those anonymous email addresses if you want to do that, if you want to go that far. And then you just go to Walgreens or Walmart or Target. Everybody has those like Visa prepaid gift card things you buy now, You just put however much money you want to put on them. All you have to do is, put however much you want on there, $50, $100, $500, whatever. And then you just send me the number and I think the 3-digit code on the back. I think that's all I really need. And then I can process that right through. I have a credit card swipe thing for PayPal, so I could do it right through there, and So I don't think I've ever had anybody ask if they could donate anonymously before, but hey, if you want to do it, that's how you can do it. I understand some people don't want all their information out there, but I don't make publicly people's information available public when they, you know what I mean? Like if somebody famous, like if I saw some name like, if I checked my email and there's like a donation in there from like fucking some famous, movie star or something, unless it was Tom Cruise, then I'd probably be like, hey, that motherfucking Xeno worshiping bastard sent me a donation. What the fuck? No. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would do that. But I've never gotten any. I've never gotten any messages or donations or anything from anybody famous before. But if it was somebody that wasn't a Scientologist and they sent me a donation, I could keep it confidential. I wouldn't say anything. But anyway, in regards to that, I see the point, and that's how you do it, and that's just that's another good way you can contribute that way as well. So I'm shooting to have Spellcaster Volume 2 out by July. We've got about $800 left to raise for that. Not a lot. And our 10-year anniversary for the show and for my first film, 9/11 New World Rising, is in September. I'm hoping by the end of September to have out a 10-year retrospective box set of all my work. It'll be available in a variety of formats, Blu-ray, DVD. We'll have some other deluxe versions I'll tell you about later. That'll be on USB. We'll have a whole bunch of different, we'll have some bare bones ones you can get with just white envelopes and, plain discs, no frills packaging that'll be less. We're going to have a bunch of different packages. And then after that, I'm going to take a break from filmmaking for a while. I'll still be doing the radio show, of course, and all the other stuff and projects, but I'm going to take after Spellcaster Volume 2, I'm taking a break from filmmaking for a while. I don't really want to get into all of it now. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. It's not like I'm done, but I want to start pursuing some other different avenues and looking at and doing some other different things. These films require so much work and time and money to do, and the return that we're getting, and not just the return, but the amount of people we're having that are even seeing these films, is just starting to not be worth the effort anymore. Honestly, it's really not. Because doing a full, I don't know what people expect. People thinking that fucking, dude, I had somebody say, "Oh, Spellcasters 1.5 it wasn't what I was expecting. It wasn't like Volume 1." Well, Volume 1 took over a year and a half to make, and it got rewritten 8 or 9 times. That's a long, full. This was not supposed to be a full, film project. I didn't even have a budget for 1.5. I had no budget. I made that with no budget, none. It takes like 7 or 8 months just to write one of these things. All the research, all the writing. And that's where I'm starting to figure out. It's like, I'm just going to start writing books. Because I'm already writing books. Every time I write a movie and I'm done with writing it before I edit any video together, it's a book. It's a written book. And I could be fucking writing that and poof, I'm done. Instead of as it is now, it's like when I'm done with that, even though I've been working on that for 7 or 8 months, then the work just begins. Because then you got to do the editing and all of that. And, I could do that and then do audiobooks. I mean, because that's pretty much what I'm doing now too with the movies. Before any video is seen on the screen, I've written an entire book. I've done a book on cassette voiceover of the entire book. Then I have to make it all work together on the screen visually, and then music and, graphics, title graphics, and all that stuff. But coming up on the 10-year anniversary of doing this, I want to have a box set that has all my work and everything collected in it, the mini films, everything. And I just wanted that to be able to stand on its own and promote that for a while, Let that simmer and stew before I'm on to the next project, because I've just been going nonstop with these film projects. I want to take some time to, once the box set is out, is to promote that and get as many of those into the hands of as many people as I possibly can. Because I really feel like when I'm done, when all this is done, and I'm done with Spellcasters Volume 2, and I've got this box set that I'm going to put together, I really feel like there's not going to be a better collection of work, to really change the hearts and minds of people who maybe not only are already not awakened to this kind of stuff, but people who are already awakened to this kind of stuff, but haven't been, have been deceived by the Alex Jones of it all, or whatever it may be. And that's something I think is going to be really amazing about once this box set is done, because I really feel like it's, once I get everything there and everything, and the mini films are in there and everything, you're talking about a big chunk, the bulk of my work over the last 10 years, and a real big chunk of information that contains a lot of stuff that a lot of people aren't going to know about. So, anyway, that's the plan for now. Still working on getting all this stuff going, but there's just, it's tough, man. It's tough. I've worked my ass off day and night, 24 hours a day for 17 days straight to make Spellcaster 1.5. Well, we got, there's so many of you out there. I don't know whether you're fake listeners or you're haters or what, but there's just so many. I look at the numbers and look how many listeners we have versus how many people we have that donate to our work versus how many people buy the films. If you're listening to this radio show and you've never bought my documentary films, I don't know what you're waiting on, and I don't know why you would assume and be arrogant enough to assume that you don't need to see those films. I don't get up here and give away and talk about all the information in my films on these radio shows. I never have, I never will. You think I'm stupid? What'd be the point in that? There'd be no point in making the films then, would there? So the films are their own unique experience, separate from what I do on this radio show. That's another thing people need to know and understand. And I promise you, no matter how much you think you know, I don't care if you think you know all there is to know about this. When I got into this 10 years ago, I thought I knew everything there was to know. Boy, was I ever fucking wrong. I promise you, no matter how much you think you know, there are stuff that can be found in my work and in my films that you're just not going to get anywhere else. And the stuff you can't get everywhere else has been strictly taken directly from me by other individuals out there. My main continuation things is I'm in this looking for the truth myself. And, the more and more that I research this, it's disappointing, folks. All this stuff's been fake. All this stuff, man, it's disappointing. When I first got involved in this 10 years ago, I really did believe in that there was a real movement of people who really wanted to find the truth and really change things. And now it's, to have come this far only to find out that it's all been another part of the control system for very long. And the fact there are still so many people out there who just don't see it and don't believe it and won't believe it. And people who just won't even flat look at the evidence when it's there and I presented it to you. And some people don't want the truth. I've said that many times. But if you consider yourself a real truth seeker and you consider yourself somebody who really wants the truth, then I think you owe it to yourself to see all my films, especially, Lost Series of Ancient America, Volume 1, Spellcasters, Volume 1, 1.5, which is out now, and then 2. I mean, you got to understand, 2 is going to be a completely different film. There's going to be people that are going to be bitching about Volume 2 also when it comes out. Because if you're expecting it to be more of the same from what I've already presented in 1 and 1.5, I hate to have to bust your bubble right now. It's going to be a totally different film. Totally different film. That's all I can really say. But there's information in there nobody's ever presented yet. There's going to be information, stuff nobody knows about yet, and stuff I've been having to bite my fucking tongue to keep under wraps. I'm not going to lie to you. It's been tough. I wanted to read something for you. I thought this was hilarious. This came in on YouTube yesterday on one of my preview videos for Spellcasters Volume 1. The one that has the some of the Jim Mars information in it. I posted this on our Global Reality Facebook page as well. This person says, Josh Reeves has a comprehension problem. There's no such thing as soul cracking in Scientology. It's called case cracking. And it's just brainstorming on how to get access to a person's subconscious mind so they can be helped. What an idiot. And my response is, big bold letters, LOL, really? Is that right? Did Xenu tell you so? Because I didn't pull that out of thin air. It's a direct quote from L. Ron Hubbard Jr., who was the heir to the throne of Scientology till he discovered what it really is, black magic and mind control. I can give you the direct quote from the interview, and of course I do. I go on and give him the direct quote, and he says, the explanation is sort of long and complicated. The basic rationale is that there are some powers in this universe that are pretty strong. As an example, Hitler was involved in the same black magic and the same occult practices that my father was, the identical ones, which, as I've said, stem clear back to before Egyptian times. It's a very secret thing, very powerful and very workable and very dangerous. Brainwashing is nothing compared to it. The proper term would be soul cracking. It's like cracking open the soul, which then opens various doors to power that exist, satanic and demonic powers. Simply put, it's like a tunnel or an avenue or a doorway. Pulling that power into yourself or another person is incredibly insidious, is the ultimate vampirism, the ultimate mind fuck. Instead of going for blood, you're going for their soul. And you take drugs in order to reach that state where you can quite literally, like a psychic hammer, break their soul and pull the power through. He designed his Scientology operating Thetan techniques to do the same thing, but of course, it takes a couple of 100 hours of auditing and mega thousands of dollars for the privilege of having your head turned into a glass Humpty Dumpty, shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. It may sound like incredible gibberish, but it made my father a fortune. So again, and not only that, the soul cracking techniques, I've talked about that before. That goes back to the Freemasons, Pythagoreans, Pythagorean mystery schools, but all of these things where the successive degrees going up gradually, that's what a lot of these chants were, gradually that's what they do. They open your soul up more and more and more. So eventually you're just wide open for these entities to come in and have complete and total control over you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we need everybody to go out there and get yourself a copy of The Spellcasters Volume 1 and 1.5, too, if you haven't seen those films. And also, please hit up our operating costs campaign fundraiser, make a chip-in donation there, and also, if you want to help us reach our goal by tomorrow for Spellcasters Volume 2. My name's Josh Reeves. We'll see you next time. Take care.